Can you jitter aim? I'll be honest, I think it's not all that worth it. Here's why I don't usually jitter aim, is because I've learned the recoil. So 248 with 3-1. I can hit more without jitter aiming. That's why I don't jitter aim. This is why I don't jitter aim, because I can control the recoil much easier myself, and I know what I'm doing. So okay, me as a character, I'm right here, and if you look at the top left of your screen, it's about right here. There are like angle numbers. Respawn has included very purposefully. It's called recoil smoothing. So what happens is, if, as we all know, I'm just standing here, I'm just shooting. There's this recoil pattern that happens, right? And I can, you know, control that by playing the recoil backwards, right? So, and I've practiced this many hours, right? As you can tell. So without moving my stick, my whatever, mouse, and then if I were to play the recoil backwards, they wanted to make this like a lower skill floor. They wanted to make it easy because they're like, okay, we're gonna have characters that are moving left and right, up and down. This recoil pattern is cool, but I think it's maybe too much for, you know, a guy that's doing left and right like this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm only going to shoot left and right. I'm not gonna account for recoil. Okay, like I am only going left with my mouse, and this applies to controller as well. So what is happening under the hood is they're actually watching your angle. Again, the numbers at the top left, it's up here. They're watching your angle numbers, and it's like somebody calculated it was like 3 degrees per second. If you're maybe doing this speed, something like this, recoil smoothing is going to be on. That recoil smoothing means there's no recoil pattern. None of this. See how it goes like left, up and right. So if you're shooting at a character and he's moving relative to your screen a specific speed, they wanted to make it easier. But since I'm further back, I'm going to be moving my cursor less at this character. So if I try to shoot this, recoil patterns are going to be in effect. Like they will happen, right? So if I try this, do you see how it went up? That's because the recoil pattern is being applied. But when I move up, it kind of depends on the speed of the character versus where you're at. But let's try it. Yeah. I can sort of feel the recoil smoothing take effect. Let's try maybe here. Yeah. Like there's a little bit of recoil. But yeah, the closer you are. I'm not like pulling down, by the way. I'm not doing the recoil pattern. I'm just simply moving my mouse like this. What's funny is jitter aiming actually does the exact same thing, but like this is an exploit. Basically they're still watching your numbers, again these numbers at the top left, and they're like, okay, his angles are changing at about 3 degrees per second, something like that, because you're doing a circle, right? You're doing circle, or you're moving, and all they have is this if statement in the computer code that's it says if the view angles per second are higher than a number, probably 3, then disable the recoil pattern. So that's how you get this effect. Like when I do circles like that, it's actually kind of enabling recoil smoothing. So that's kind of a little insight for you. When I do these, like I spent hours just in the firing range, just like testing stuff out. And I'm like, okay, how can I learn this recoil pattern? And then I go onto YouTube, and then I see that no one has done like the strafe pattern thing with the audio cues. Like nobody did the recoil pattern audio cues. So if we look at the recoil pattern for this one, it goes happy birthday. So I was just singing happy birthday in my mind. But what was cool, what was so cool to me is I spent like hours. I'm like, okay, cool, I got this audio cue. You can just like strafe the pattern, right? And I'm like, wait, I memorized the recoil now. So I like took my hand off and I'm like, and I was like, dude, this is different. And nobody else did this, right? And I'm like, okay, I wonder if it works for the 3-1. There's no way it works for a 3-1 as well, like, right? So I'm like, I don't have a jingle for it, unfortunately. It was just like, pull down, left, right, left. So I tried it, like, the strafing. That was pretty good. And then I memorized it. But yeah, like, and then I just memorized the recoil pattern. I think that was a better way of learning the recoil rather than like, I've had people, they're like, don't memorize the recoil patterns. Just utilize recoil smoothing and just do jitter aiming. I've had preds that told me to like forget the recoil patterns, and I'm like, no, I can't forget it. Like it's in my mind now. I pick it up on R3-1 and I'm like, that's why I don't do jitter aiming, just because it's just kind of less accurate.